Welcome to Facts TV News, where everything is true. Woman identified as person of interest in physical abuse of 4-year-old. The Westmoreland police have identified a person of interest in the severe physical abuse of a 4-year-old girl in the parish. She is Marcia Billings of Cave District, Westmoreland. Billings is being asked to make contact with detectives at the Savannah Lamar Police Station by 5 p.m. on Friday, February 5th. She emerged as a person of interest following investigations that were launched after a report was made by the mother of the child, the Jamaica Constabulary Force stated in a Facebook post. Images showing the child with severe unhealed cuts and bruises along the torso have been widely circulated. Against this background, the police are urging persons to desist from sharing images of the child immediately, as sharing them constitutes an offense. The Child Protection and Family Service (CPFSA) and the Center of the Investigation of Sexual Offenses and Child Abuse (CISOCA) are working alongside the Savannah Lamar Police as a probe into the case remains ongoing. Jamaica faces ganja shortage as farmers struggle. Jamaica is running low on ganja. Heavy rains, followed by an extended drought, an increase in local consumption, and a drop in the number of marijuana farmers have caused a shortage in the island's famed but largely illegal market that experts say is the worst they've seen. "It's a cultural embarrassment," said Tristan Thompson, Chief Opportunity Explorer for Takaya, a consulting and brokerage firm for the country's nascent legal cannabis industry. Jamaica, which foreigners have long associated with pot, reggae, and Rastafarians, authorized a regulated medical marijuana industry and decriminalized small amount of weed in 2015. People caught with 2 ounces or less of cannabis are supposed to pay a small fine and face no arrest or criminal record. The island also allows individuals to cultivate up to 5 plants, and Rastafarians are legally allowed to smoke ganja for sacramental purpose. But enforcement is spotty, as many tourists and locals continue to buy marijuana on the street, where it has grown more scarce and more expensive. Heavy rains during last year's hurricane season propelled marijuana fields that were later scorched into the drought that followed, causing tens of thousands of dollars in losses, according to farmers who cultivate pot outside the legal system. "It destroyed everything," said Daniel Bozra, who grows marijuana in the southwest part of Jamaica in a historical village called a compound, founded by escaped 18th century slaves known as Maroons. Worsening the problem were strict COVID-19 measures, including a 7 p.m. curfew that meant farmers couldn't tend to their fields at night as is routine, said Kenrick Wallace, 29, who cultivates 2 acres in a compound with the help of 20 other farmers. He noted that lack of roads forces many farmers to walk to reach their fields and then to get water from wells and springs. Many were unable to do those chores at night due to the curfew. Wallace estimated he lost more than US $18,000 in recent months and cultivated only 300 pounds compared with an average of 700 to 800 pounds the group normally produce. Activists say they believe the pandemic and a loosening of Jamaica's marijuana laws has led to an increase in local consumption that has contributed to the scarcity, even if the pandemic has put a dent in the arrival of ganja-seeking tourists. "Last year was the worst year. We've never had this amount of loss," Thompson said. "It's something so laughable that cannabis is short in Jamaica." Tourists, too, have taken note, placing posts on travel websites about difficulties finding the drug. Paul Burke, CEO of Jamaica's Ganja Growers and Producers Association, said in a phone interview that people are no longer afraid of being locked up now that the government allows possession of small amounts. He said stigmatization against ganja has diminished and more people are appreciating its claimed therapeutic and medicinal value during the pandemic. Burke also said that some traditional small farmers have stopped growing in frustration because they can't afford to meet requirements for the legal market, while police continue to destroy what he described as good ganja fields. The government's Cannabis Licensing Authority, which has authorized 29 cultivators and issued 73 licenses for transportation, retail, processing, and other activities, said there is no shortage of marijuana in the regulated industry. But farmers and activists say weed sold via legal dispensaries, known as herb houses, is out of reach for many, given that it still costs 5 to 10 times more than pot on the street. Oscar winner, Sound of Music star Christopher Plummer dies. Christopher Plummer, the dashing award-winning actor who played Captain Von Trapped in the film The Sound of Music, and at 82 became the oldest Academy Award acting winner in history, has died. He was 91. Plummer died Friday morning at his home in Connecticut with his wife, Elaine Taylor, by his side, said Lou Pitt, his longtime friend and manager. Over more than 50 years in the industry, Plummer enjoyed varied roles ranging from the film The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo to the voice of the villain in 2009, Up, and as a canny lawyer in Broadway's Inherit the Wind. In 2009, he starred as murdered mystery novelist in Rian Johnson's whodunit Knives Out and in the TV suspense drama series Departure. But it was opposite to Julia Andrews as Von Trapp in 1965 that made him a star. He played an Australian captain who must flee the country with his folk-singing family to escape service in the Nazi Navy, a role he lamented was humorless and one-dimensional. Plummer spent the rest of his life referring to the film as The Sound of Mucus, or S&M. We tried so hard to put humor into it, he told the Associated Press in 2007. It was almost impossible. It was just agony not to make that guy a cardboard figure. The role catapulted Plummer to stardom, but he never took to leading men parts. Despite his silver hair, gold look, and even so slight English accent, he preferred character parts, considering them more meaty. His memoir in 2012 was titled In Spite of Myself. Tribute quickly came from Hollywood and Broadway. Joseph Gordon-Levitt called him one of the greats, and George Takei Post, rest in eternal music, Captain Von Trapp. Dave Foley, a fellow Canadian, wrote, "If I live to be 91, maybe I'll have time to be fully appreciative of all the great work of Christopher Plummer." Plummer had a remarkable film renaissance late in life, which began with his acclaimed performance as Mike Wallace in Michael Mann's 1999 film The Insider, continued in films such as 2001 A Beautiful Mind and 2009 The Last Station, in which he played a deteriorating Tolstoy and was nominated for an Oscar. In 2012, Plummer won a Supporting Actor Oscar for his role in Beginners as Hal Fields, a museum director who becomes openly gay after his wife of 44 years dies. His loving final relationship becomes an inspiration for his son, who struggled with his father's death and how to find intimacy in a new relationship. Too many people in the world are unhappy with their lot, and then they retire and they become vegetables. I think retirement in any profession is death, so I'm determined to keep cracking, he told AP in 2011. Plummer in 2017 replaced Kevin Spacey as J. Paul Getty in All the Money in the World, just 6 weeks before the film was set to hit theaters. That choice was officially validated in the best possible way for the film. A supporting Oscar nomination for Plummer, his third. I was just hopeful that at my age, my memory would serve me, he said at the time. I had to learn my lines very quickly. There were follow-up periods in his career, a Pink Panther movie here, a Dracula 2000 there, and even a Star Trek as a Klingon no less. But Plummer had other reasons than the scripts in mind. For a long time, I accepted parts that took me to the attractive places in the world. Rather than shooting in the Bronx, I would rather go to the south of France, crazed creature that I am, he told AP in 2007. And so, I satisfied a lot of my career for nicer hotels and more attractive beaches. The Canadian-born actor performed most of the major Shakespeare roles, including Hamlet, Iago, Othello, Prospero, Henry V, and a staggering King Lear at Lincoln Center in 2004. He was a frequent star at the Stratford Shakespeare Festival in Canada. I've become simpler and simpler with playing Shakespeare, he said in 2007. I'm not so extravagant as I used to be. I don't listen to my voice so much anymore. All the pitfalls of playing that classic, you can fall in love with yourself. He won 2 Tony Awards. The first was in 1974 for Best Actor in a Music for playing the title role of Cyrano, and his second in 1997 for his portrayal of John Barrymore in Barrymore. He also won 2 Emmys. Plummer was born Arthur Christopher Plummer in Toronto. His maternal great-grandfather was former Canadian Prime Minister Sir John Abbott. His parents divorced shortly after his birth, and he was raised by his mother and aunts. Plummer began his career on stage and in radio in Canada in the 1940s and made his Broadway debut in 1954 in The Star-Crossed Story. While still a relative unknown, he was cast as Hamlet in a 1963 performance co-starring Robert Shaw and Michael Caine. It was taped by the BBC at Elsinore Castle in Denmark, where the play is set, and released in 1964. It won an Emmy. Plummer was given Canada's highest civil honor when he was invested as Companion of the Order of Canada by Queen Elizabeth II in 1968 and was inducted into the American Theatre's Hall of Fame in 1986. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, and click the notification bell for daily updates.